Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Stuart Hayden, founder of Stormbeach, specialising in authentic leadership, keeping myself busy as a coach, consultant, speaker, author of this said book here, which is It's Not About the Coach, which is the focus of today's video. This is part 2 of 3. In part 1 I looked at the journey of a coachee, and step 1 of that journey is typically about possibilities, so holding on to lots of different possibilities. Step 2, the focus of this session is about your perception, your perception shifts and changes. And the third video, which will come shortly, which is around performance. So if you've got an overarching storyline, if you like, from coaching, when you're learning, being a coachee, being challenged by your coach, mentor, leader, whoever it might be. Phase 1, possibilities. Phase 2, this one, which is around your perception. And the last one is about performance. So let me delve into a few short readings, and we'll basically explore perception in a bit more detail. So perception. Knowledge and understanding underpins our perceptions, truth, belief and justification. Epistemology is the branch of philosophy which is concerned with the nature and scope of this knowledge. The links between coaching and philosophy are easy to make, given that both disciplines rely heavily on questions. Question knowing: how do you know what you know? Epistemology addresses what is knowledge, how is knowledge acquired, to what extent is it possible for a subject, entity, to be known? So let's perhaps break that down into more simpler terms. This is about assessing your perception as a coachee. How do you know what you know? So I remember being coached after my second redundancy, and the big perception bit for me here was about setting up my own business, but being somewhat scared in doing that. But in terms of perception, how do I know that? What was I basing that on? And when my coach asked me, well, how do you know you're scared? I was like, well, I don't really know. Couldn't really answer that question. So you've got to reflect, be challenged, ask yourself questions, respond to questions, to really think about this perception. And time is a great one. Time will help you shift these perceptions, but of course coaching, the idea of coaching, the real essence of coaching for me, particularly in this stage, is speeding things up, bringing pace, not going too fast because that can obviously be a bit dangerous, driving at high speeds, but certainly moving you on a little bit further forward. Okay, so the big perception thing for me there was just really thinking, well, if I'm scared about setting my own business up, how do I know that? Why am I scared? How do I know it will be how I think it will be? It was all based on perception, which was sometimes nonsense and sometimes accurate, so you've got to challenge it. Okay, so let's look at 5 different areas to explore perception in more detail. So the first one is around soul. Get away from the business, recharge your batteries, plug in and connect to your soul. Maybe there is very little or no knowledge at all. What kind of perceptions exist when you come from an egoless state? New ways of knowing. Number 2 is the physical action, your body. Your body will aid you in your search for new perceptions and challenging the old. Knowledge might exist with the absence of proof or even evidence, as I mentioned earlier. Here you can stretch your legs and test these theories, tracking the truth. Third of 5 areas is around emotions. Tug at your heartstrings for a response. Unknowingly, your perception might have identified intuitively. Fall out of love with knowledge if you need to. Find it elsewhere. A relationship of belief and truth, 2 very different things. On to the intellect now, and the mind and our thoughts. Your mind is adept at creating perception. Sometimes the knowledge it acquires serves us. Sometimes we need to let go, logically. Evaluate people's priorities, their intellectual virtues, and remain a skeptic. I think, therefore I am. And the final of the 5 areas is around our spirit and connection and meaning. Knowledge, connections, meanings, morals and innovation. Our spirit will attach itself to perception, up, above or down below. We enter into it, a world may be. The sky isn't always blue. Sunrise, sunset. So there we have it, middle part of the journey for coachees. Just hold on to those possibilities from phase 1 and just see what it does to your perception. Let it play Will you speak to your coach, mentor, whoever it might be, and just get a sense of how those perceptions are shifting? But the biggest question you can hold on to is, how do you know what you know? So when you say something, I think it will be X, how do you know that? What are you really basing that on? Is it a perception that isn't grounded, or is it a perception that is grounded? If it is grounded, great, you can move on, because you can demonstrate what you know. It's all about this knowledge, isn't it? Okay. So I hope that helps you. The third video on its way is around performance, so the final part of the jigsaw, phase 3 of the Coachee's journey.